So, dear friends, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Are we okay right now? So, dear friends, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Are we okay right now? So, dear friends, thank you so much for.
I think we need a moment to figure out the tech
right now?
here. I'm hearing an
So,
echo.
dear friends, thank you so much for.
I think we need a moment to figure out the tech
right now?
here. I'm hearing an
So,
echo.
dear friends, thank you so much for.
I think we need a moment to figure out the tech
right now?
here. I'm hearing an
So, dear.
Okay, so we'll try this again. Dear friends, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We have a very special afternoon. We have two sisters joining us and also our translator.
So we'll try this again. Dear friends, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We have a very special.
Dear sisters, we have a slight problem with Sister Nghiem. She's alone to connect. I will try to help her. So if we can wait 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
On Zoom playback.
So, hello. Okay, no echo. Great.
On Zoom playback.
So, hello.
output will not be.
Speakers. Should I choose same as system?
Right. And now do test.
Sister, can you hear me?
Speakers. Should I choose same as system?
Right.
Oh, it's still the
And now
same.
do test.
System.
Dear Sister Nghiem, is Sister Giac ready now?
Sister Nghiem, is Sister Giac
Hello, everyone. So Sister Nghiem is able to manage with the technical aspects. Yes, she doesn't have a technical support, so it seems that maybe she will not be able to join because she doesn't know how to do. So I am in contact with her right now. So just give me 2 more minutes.
No,
Est-ce que tu m'entends maintenant? Maintenant, tu m'entends?
Oui, on t'entend, je crois.
Alors, maintenant, je vais essayer d'appuyer sur la caméra. Voilà. Est-ce que vous me voyez?
Ça y est.
Eh bien voilà, ça y est, même à distance.
Ok,
Wonderful, wonderful.
ok, on va arrêter le téléphone. Au revoir.
J'éteins, hein? À tout à l'heure. Voilà. Merveilleux.
Sorry, dear friends, for all this technical problem. Now that Sister Nghiem is with us from Maison de l'Inspire, it seems that our host is not here anymore. I don't know if Sister Nghiem and Sister Andy if you are here. Yes. Thank you very much for your patience.
Oh no.
Sœur Nghiem, est-ce que tu veux pour l'instant éteindre le micro en bas à gauche?
Oui, oui, oui. Là, elle m'a fait voir, je sais faire.
Okay. So, dear, anyhow, we would like to really apologize for the technical difficulties we've been having with this session. It's a bit of a challenge. So anyhow, thank you so much for your patience in being here this afternoon with us. And thank you so much, Sister Nghiem and Sister Nghiem, for also joining us this afternoon. Our community is quite curious, actually, and many of us, I know that our hearts were really with you as you made your trip to the Ukraine recently. And I know that many of us here in Plum Village, as well as in our worldwide Plum Village community, have a lot of questions around that and would really love to hear from you and your sharing about your experience going to the Ukraine. So first, can you tell us a little bit about how we received the invitation, how and a little bit of the context of our presence, Plum Village presence there in the Ukraine? So maybe Sister Nghiem, you can share a little bit. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting us to share a little bit about our experience when we went to Ukraine. Actually, 1 week ago, something like that. So we have been contacted by a group that is called Elijah Interfaith, and one of the core member and I guess also founder is Rabbi Alon, who came to a retreat in the early 90s in Israel when Tai and Sister Chankong did a retreat in the early 90s. He went there just out of curiosity and part of his spiritual journey. And then after that, he approached Sister Chankong because he already had some idea of bringing the different religion together. And so he approached her to have an interview or something like that, I think. And from that time, the relationship is there. The sister who received the invitation told me that he often send emails because currently they are doing quite a lot of things, and because of the situation in Ukraine and also it was just a few days, 2 or 3 days right after we have published also our letter to peace, for peace. in Ukraine and also in the world. So that really makes sense that we should go there and receive the invitation. So yes, this is about it, and it seems that maybe there will be a part 2, but we still don't know what it's going to be like. So we will have a Zoom meeting with all the different leaders of the different religion that were present. So we had the Orthodox that were represented, the Catholics, the Brahman, the yoga, the Muslim, and I think I forget, Jew, and us. So that was like a good panel of representative for each religion, and we counted. So we traveled by bus, and in the bus also we had other people from NGO that was just joining us, and we counted in the bus. We were, I think, something like 14 or 15 different nationalities. Also from New Zealand, from US. Yeah, so it was a good friendship experience to go there as one body, and people that we haven't met, but the connection was there very easily, especially with the leaders. I was a little bit intimidated at the beginning, just to sitting next to Archbishop and the great Mufti, and but then I could really feel their love, their gentleness, their peace, their openness. So in fact, yeah, the relationship was quite easy, even though they were quite high level. So that was just to give you some background and information on how we get this information, this invitation, and a little bit also about the other members that were present in the event.
Thank you so much, Sister Nghiem, for your sharing. Sister Nghiem, you were there to represent the Plum Village community. And can you share with us a little bit about your impressions being there with with other religious leaders? And can you share a little bit about this, exactly what you did there at the event, and whether how well attended was it? Were you in a safe environment as you held the event? Just to give us a little bit of a sense of how it felt like to be there.
Faut que tu réappuies sur le micro en bas à gauche. Et je pense, and I think Sister Nghiem will speak in French, I guess, and Dee will be here to translate.
Alors, il y a une chose, devant moi, il y a un meeting in be recorded by host. Et il y a marqué got it. J'appuie là-dessus, sur got it.
Non, c'est bon. On vous entend, ma sœur. On vous entend.
Parce qu'elle dit que ça ne sera pas enregistré autrement. Parfait, donc c'est bien.
Oui. Appuie, got it. Oui.
Sorry, it's very, very new for me. Start my video, yes, also. Merci, mes sœurs. You see, I'm too old, but I try. Pour moi, ce n'était pas du tout la première fois que je me retrouvais dans un monde interreligieux.
It wasn't the first time for me that I was in interreligious world.
Je suis née au Maroc dans un monde musulman et juif et chrétien.
I was born in Morocco in a mixture of Jewish, Muslim, and Christian culture
Qui vivait en harmonie.
that were living in harmony.
Et dans notre famille, on a toujours eu cet esprit qu'il était possible de vivre avec des religions différentes en harmonie.
And in our family, we always had this mindset that it is possible to live with different religions in harmony.
Et que Dieu était pour tout le monde.
And that God is for everyone.
Voilà. La Maison de l'Inspire est en contact avec un groupe interreligieux.
So Maison de l'Inspire, where she's located, is in contact with a religious group.
Voilà. Et nous avons des réunions, nous avons participé déjà à des réunions similaires.
And they have already in the past participated in similar occasions, like similar reunions.
Covid a arrêté un peu les réunions.
The COVID stopped that.
Voilà. J'ai été comme sœur Nghiem, j'ai été intimidée par la présence de grands vénérables.
She was just like Sister Nghiem was sharing. She was as well intimidated by the presence of such highly respected venerables.
Et je me sentais comme un petit enfant qui joue dans la cour des grands. Tu comprends?
And she felt like a small child playing with the big guys.
C'est ça, c'est ça. Pour moi, cette démarche était vraiment très importante.
This was a very important thing for her.
Que on puisse prouver au monde qu'on pouvait être ensemble, toutes les religions unies, dans un lieu en guerre.
So there was a necessity to prove to the world that it is possible to reunite all religions in a place of war.
Voilà. J'aurais besoin qu'on me rappelle la deuxième question, si c'était possible.
She would like to hear the second question again.
So what did you do in the gathering? What was everyone doing, and what was the offering like from the different groups, and what was our offering to the gathering, and also how well was it attended? Were the people actually able to come to the gathering and be there?
Cette réunion s'est passée le 12 avril dans un grand théâtre.
So this reunion took place on the 12th of April 2022 in a big theater.
Et nous avions été invités par le rabbin qui nous avait invités à rédiger des textes que nous devions lire ou réciter en public.
So they had been invited by Rabbi alone, I think, to write texts and recite them in public.
Comme nous étions très nombreux, il fallait que les trois activités, les trois partages soient sur 400 mots seulement.
Because they were quite a big number, they had to limit it to 400 words only. So they had 3 sharings, and the 3 sharings were maximum 400 words.
Et nous avons donc eu à peu près 5 minutes pour le premier et quelque chose comme 3 minutes ou 4 minutes pour la deuxième intervention. Donc c'était très petit.
It was very short. The first intervention was 5 minutes, and the second intervention was like 3 to 4 minutes.
J'ai eu beaucoup de chance d'avoir sœur Nghiem avec moi parce qu'elle a conclu la première intervention en chantant Je suis chez moi, je suis arrivée et devant le public. Et elle avait également enseigné en ukrainien cette chanson et tout le monde l'a chantée en ukrainien. Le public a chanté cette chanson en ukrainien. C'était écrit sur un grand tableau. Je suis chez moi, je suis...
She felt very lucky to have Sister Nghiem by her side because Sister Nghiem actually sang the song I Have Arrived, I Am Home. And she also taught it to the public in Ukrainian. It was written on a big board on the side in Ukrainian, and the public sang it in Ukrainian.
J'ai eu l'idée que c'est une image, j'avais l'idée que j'étais quelqu'un de très préservé, de très protégé, dans un grand bateau, sur une mer agitée et avec des gens qui se noyaient autour de nous.
She felt a bit of a metaphor that came to her mind was that she was somebody extremely sheltered and protected on a big boat that was sailing on a sea that was stormy and where people were dying left and right.
Et donc, l'idée que j'ai eue, c'était de leur envoyer un canot, quelque chose pour les sauver. Pas leur apprendre à nager, leur envoyer quelque chose sur lequel ils allaient pouvoir se réfugier.
So she felt like she wanted to send them a buoy or something they could take refuge in, not teach them how to swim, but actually give them something they could take refuge in.
C'est pour ça que j'ai proposé d'apprendre à retourner dans son île intérieure, une méditation guidée, avec une relaxation, un peu comme une relaxation. Oui, vas-y.
She offered a guided meditation, a bit like a relaxation, and the guided meditation was actually on how to take refuge in the island of oneself.
Et de regarder encore ce qui est beau autour de soi.
And to be able to continue looking at what is beautiful around us.
Oui, nous avons des yeux qui peuvent voir la beauté du printemps. Nous pouvons respirer librement. Nous pouvons entendre les oiseaux qui chantent.
So we have eyes that can see the beauty of spring. We can hear the birds that are singing, and we can see the beauty all around us.
Et juste avant, nous avons proposé, nous avons expliqué que c'était grâce à la pleine conscience et au retour en soi que Thay avait pu, avec ses disciples, franchir la guerre. Grâce à ça, grâce à la pleine conscience et au retour à soi, Thay et ses disciples ont pu franchir la guerre. Donc c'était le bateau.
She shared that it was thanks to mindfulness and going back to oneself that Thay and his disciples, his followers, were able to go through war, and that was the boat. That was a bit the metaphor of the boat.
C'est ça. Et pour le deuxième enseignement, c'est venu naturellement sous forme d'un poème.
So for the second teaching, came as quite naturally as a poem.
Sur l'impermanence.
That was talking about impermanence.
Voilà. Et sur la beauté du monde, qui nous entoure.
And about the beauty of the world that surrounds us.
Et le courage d'ouvrir la porte.
And the courage to open
la porte de la maison, hein, pour tout le monde, à tout le monde.
The courage that it is required to open your household to everyone.
Yes. De reconstruire, de ne pas perdre espoir, de reconstruire un monde nouveau pour les jeunes aussi.
and to not lose faith and to rebuild a beautiful new world for everyone, but also for the youth.
Voilà. C'était le sens de notre intervention.
That was the point they were trying to make. That was the meaning of their presence, the reason for their presence there.
Merci, sœur.
Thank you so much, dear sister. I wanted to maybe ask if you could kind of share with us what practice that you felt helped you the most while you were there. And my question stems from, we are, most of us watching this right now, we're in a very safe environment. There aren't any bombs falling overhead. We're in quite a sheltered, and we know that we're in a safe environment. And so for you to be there and to be so close to within the turmoil and a country that is experiencing war, what practice helped you the most in being in that place, and maybe that helped you to sustain your peace and your solidity and not kind of get pulled from the turmoil that you witnessed there? Is that?
Thank you for your question. So first of all, we went to Ukraine, but it was not a war zone. So there were no bombs, and life continued where we were, in the town where we were. So it was very close to the border with Romania. So on the very west. But nevertheless, when we were already in the bus, after the passing the border, then we already had some escort, police escort. And every time we get out of the bus and come in the bus again, then we had quite a lot of men around, either military or maybe civil, but who just took the arms. I don't know if my English is correct. Yeah. Okay. So we were just the same, like protected by, I don't know, in the theater, like probably there were at least 20 men outside with guns, just in case, and also inside. And so it was really well prepared, and in terms of security, it was quite high level. So in a way, that maybe make us feel safe, but in another way is also a little bit scary to see all these gun. But they were for sure. I remember Sister Nghiem going out of the theater and to each of them bowing and saying thank you to be here to protect us. So yes, and then some of them were able to smile to us, and some of them were just trying to keep their concentration. So for me, what comes in my mind straight away is the practice of just staying in the present moment. Not getting into stories, or not getting lost into what I could see, because when we arrive at the border, there is a lot of NGO tent that were there to help the refugee, those who cross the border by foot, to have something to drink, something, a place to sleep, to rest, something to eat, or just to have some comfort. So by the time when we went, there were not a lot of people because the big wave already happened a few weeks already earlier, but still all the tents were there. So yeah, when you see that, you just come back to your breath. And also there was, like I mentioned, gratitude also for all the people who decided to come to the border and stay at the border to help people, just like those young men who decided to take the arm to protect their country. Yes, and also so there was the event in the afternoon, but in the morning we split into 3 groups to visit refugee camps. Places. So basically, it was mostly, I think, schools or a place of worship that became naturally open for those who need it. And yeah, that was for me a little bit hard to contain my tears, to see, because we could really see their traumatic experience in their eyes and face. Many of the young women are, just looking into the void and not being able to maybe process what happened to them, and then just stay with them just for maybe 1 hour and then have to leave without changing anything in the situation, at least outside. Yeah, it was a little bit a little bit painful. So just to stay in the present moment and to stay in the breath and to know that to come there to show our love and to really, and for them, they really got it. I was not with Sister Nghiem with the refugee camp, but the places I went, they really, I think, felt that we really came because of love, and they are not alone, and we are just representative of of the whole world that is supporting and loving them. And then we also asked them to share a little bit their stories, some of them. And so this is the story that we hear in the news. And then some of them really, really wanted to show on their phone the images of the buildings that were bombarded. So that was real. That was real. The suffering was tangible and real, and men crying. It's not often that we see men cry, but yeah, we could see a very young father who just had a baby, and a few days after the baby was born, they bombed. He was the bomb just next to the building. So yeah, it was. He was still in shock. The father was still in shock. And then in my group, there was a musician, one rabbi that was a musician, so the clarinet. So we also brought the spirit of music and a little bit to bring some lightness. Yeah, so the main practice to our basic practice, come back to the breath and also the steps, and stay in the present moment, not to allow myself to be carried in stories or too much sadness, or because we came to offer something that they needed, and what they needed is a little bit of freshness, a little bit of hope and love and peace. So if we arrive there and we are drowned in sorrow, it's not going to work. But at the same time, not to show indifference, and also to see that, for them to see that maybe there are tears a little bit in my eyes, it's okay too. So they can really see that we felt for them. And maybe on the way back, it took us 5 hours to cross the border. And so, and this is something that all Ukrainians even have to wait more than us, because they explain to us that they drive from where they live, and then by the time they arrive almost all at the same time, in the evening late, and then there is a long queue, and then they have to check all the papers, and again, I think we were privileged because we would leave and go back to Romania and go back to our life, normal life. But looking on my left and on my right through the window, and seeing all these young children, women, and old men, maybe not having a place to go after. That was also something that was touching my heart. So we will see what is the following up of this meeting with the interfaith group, and see if the village wants to join or not. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Sister Nghiem. That was such a beautiful sharing. Really, really thank you. And thank you for also being there for all of us, and carrying what we could offer to the people there. For Sister Nghiem, I know you have been with Tay for all these years, and especially in contact with Tay's form of engaged Buddhism. And just after hearing what Sister Nghiem shared, I had a question come to mind too. Have you ever, what kind of engagement could we offer in this situation? Besides going there and then offering our Dharma during the event, etc. And like Sister Nghiem said, we have something to offer, and we could, and that's what we're there for. What can you tell us a little bit more specifically what it is that we can offer while there, and what you felt was the most helpful for people there to receive? Earlier, you spoke about that we can't teach them to swim at this moment, but we really can only give them a raft. Can you share a little bit more on that? I'm not sure if my question is clear.
Yes, je vais essayer de répondre.
I'm going to try to answer this question.
Oui, je vais essayer de répondre. Je suis partie sans peur, sans aucune peur. Et
I
ce
left
qui...
without
Oui, vas-y.
I left without any fears.
Voilà. J'avais vraiment confiance dans la spiritualité, le pouvoir de la spiritualité.
I had my faith was all in the power of spirituality.
Oui. Et que ensemble, on pouvait apporter quelque chose de très puissant à travers l'inter-être.
And together we can create something extremely powerful through the notion of interbeing.
Voilà. J'ai été très, très touchée, tout comme Sœur Nghiem, j'ai été très touchée par ce que j'ai rencontré. Et je suis allée dans les orphelinats pour les enfants qui étaient orphelins.
I was deeply touched, just like Sister Nghiem was sharing, by who we met and what happened around us. And I also went to see orphans and orphanages.
Dans ces orphelinats, il y avait des mamans avec leurs enfants qui avaient fui et laissé les maris derrière eux.
In those orphanages, there were moms with their children who had fled and who had left behind them their husbands.
Et ce que je trouvais le plus évident à offrir, c'est la stabilité.
And what I felt was the most obvious gift I could give was stability.
Voilà, avec le cœur pleinement ouvert pour accueillir ces personnes comme mes propres enfants.
And I tried to welcome these people wholeheartedly like my own children.
Voilà. Je me suis refusée à garder l'image de réfugié dans mon cœur.
I refused to only see them as refugees in my heart.
Je leur disais bonjour comme ça, avec de la joie. J'ai voulu apporter de la joie, de la stabilité, de la joie et de l'amour dans le lieu.
I was saying hi to them like this because I wanted to bring them joy, stability, and love in the very place they were at.
Le risque quand nous visitons des lieux comme ceux-ci, c'est que les personnes pensent qu'ils sont comme des animaux curieux. Je ne sais pas si tu peux traduire.
There is a risk when you go and see such people in such situation, like when you see people in such a situation, is that you make them feel like a point of interest. You make them feel like they're suffering. It's your point of interest.
Animals being observed.
Animals being observed.
C'est ça, c'est ça. J'ai rencontré beaucoup de jeunes adolescents. J'ai rencontré des adolescents.
I met a lot of young teenagers.
Voilà. Et la première réaction qu'ils avaient, c'était de se protéger.
And their first reaction was to protect themselves.
Voilà. Protéger de notre regard qui pouvait être, c'était pas le cas pour tout le monde, mais qui pouvait être regardé comme avec curiosité.
They were trying to protect themselves from the glaze of people that were maybe not for everyone, but for some people, looking at them like a curiosity, like an animal in a zoo.
Voilà. Et quand ils rencontraient de l'amitié, de l'ouverture du cœur, c'était beaucoup plus facile.
And when they were met with friendship and open-heartedness, it was a lot easier.
Voilà. Dans cet l'orphelinat, un orphelinat que nous avons visité, ils avaient accueilli également les animaux domestiques des familles qui avaient fui.
In one of the orphanages, they actually welcomed the pets of families who had fled, fled.
Voilà. C'est très, très impressionnant. C'est très beau. C'est très beau.
It's beautiful.
Voilà, c'est ça. À l'endroit, nous avons visité l'orphelinat, un orphelinat. Il y avait des sacs de sable qui étaient appuyés contre le mur jusqu'à mi-mur pour se protéger des éclats des projectiles, hein, des bombes ou des missiles, je ne sais pas. Oui.
One of the orphanages they visited had bags of sand that had been piled up until mid-level to actually protect the structure from the impact of bombs and the aftermath of a bomb shell.
Voilà, et pour protéger les enfants qui étaient à l'intérieur des bâtiments.
In order to protect the children that were inside the buildings.
Voilà. Mais les enfants, les mamans jouaient ensemble dans le jardin. Il y avait des jeux pour les enfants et les enfants riaient, pouvaient jouer et les mamans étaient présentes.
But actually, moms and children were playing in the garden. They were playing, they were laughing, and they were joyful together.
Il y avait une volonté de survie autrement que dans la souffrance de leur part.
They had a will to transcend suffering and to live differently than in suffering from them. That was emanating from them.
Donc pour moi, ce que je pense que nous pouvons faire, le mieux que nous puissions faire, c'est d'ouvrir nos portes, de les accueillir, de pouvoir leur rendre visite. Pour ceux qui sont réfugiés en France, il y en a, j'en ai dans ma famille. J'ai une jeune femme chez mes neveux et nièces, une jeune femme ukrainienne. C'est ouvrir les portes et les considérer comme nous-mêmes, pas comme des réfugiés, pour ne pas mettre une étiquette sur eux.
So the best thing I would suggest is actually to open our doors, quite literally. And in France, for example, I know that as we speak, there are some people who have opened their doors, and my nephew, for example, has welcomed a Ukrainian refugee in his home. And I think the best we can do is welcome them and consider them just like we would consider anyone else, just as we would consider ourselves.
And not to put a label refugee on them.
C'est ça, étiquette, pas d'étiquette.
Not to put the refugee label on them.
C'est ça. C'est suffisant? J'ai répondu.
Thank you so much, Sister Nghiem, for your beautiful sharing. It really touched my heart when you spoke about looking at refugees and not putting labels. And somehow it really touched me because I have also been a refugee myself. And just to remember in the past and maybe the homes and the families who also hosted my parents and my brothers and sisters and I when we first came to America as refugees too. Just to remember that they had the heart that you had just described is, I feel I'm very moved by that, and I really understand the need for refugees to feel welcomed and not to feel as outsiders or to not have labels, and just to be able to connect heart to heart as human to human. And I really hear that in what you're saying. So thank you so much for your sharing. It was very, very moving. I think maybe if there were any were there any moments that struck you in interacting with the refugees? Was there can you share a specific memory you had other than what you've shared with us so far? Were there any other memories that you had in interacting with the refugees? And yeah. So for now, thank you.
Nghiem, tu veux commencer?
Si tu veux. Dans les visites que nous avons faites, nous sommes allés dans une école qui avait été transformée en centre pour accueillir les amis ukrainiens qui fuyaient.
So one of the visits we made, we went to a school that had been transformed into a center to welcome Ukrainian refugees.
Non. J'ai fait exprès de dire pour accueillir...
Ukrainian friends.
Oui, c'est ça.
Sorry, Ukrainian friends.
C'est pas grave. Je fais exprès pour que à l'intérieur de nous, il y ait une transformation. Après ce que je venais de dire, ce sont mes amis, nos amis. Vous comprenez? Pas des réfugiés. Plus, c'est fini. D'accord?
So sorry. Yes, the translator, I made a mistake. So it's actually not refugees, but friends. And after what the sister shared, it's really important to transform that perception in ourselves. That she made a point of using the terms our friends, which I translated to refugees, but I will not do that mistake twice. So our friends.
Et donc, dans cet espace, donc une école, les enfants qui étaient à l'école étaient, eux, dans leur maison devant leur ordinateur pour pouvoir travailler, et les lieux avaient été occupés par les amis qui venaient d'Ukraine et qui dormaient dans les salles de classe qui avaient été vidées.
So the children actually were home to work and like to study in front of their computer, while the school was transformed to welcome our friend, like the Ukrainian friends that needed a place to stay.
Et là, j'ai été touchée, très fortement touchée par deux personnes.
I was deeply touched by two people.
Une personne qui était un monsieur âgé qui devait avoir peut-être mon âge. Un monsieur âgé.
The first person was an older gentleman that may have been around the sister's age.
Et qui avait fait énormément de kilomètres pour arriver jusque dans cet endroit.
And he had traveled very far to be able to be in such a place.
Et nous sommes arrivés au moment du déjeuner de midi.
And we came for lunch during lunchtime.
Et il s'est assis difficilement, mais il s'est assis à table et on lui a servi à manger.
And he sat with difficulty and he was served food.
Et il a dit, je vis un moment de bonheur.
And he shared, I'm living a moment of happiness.
J'ai à manger.
I can eat.
j'ai de quoi dormir,
I can sleep,
je peux être vêtue avec des vêtements
I can be dressed,
et je suis complètement à l'abri. Je me sens au paradis.
and I'm safe. I feel like I'm in paradise.
Et j'ai été très, très touchée comme maintenant. J'ai été très touchée par la pleine conscience de cet homme. Sa capacité, malgré ce qu'il avait vécu, à ne pas être prisonnier de sa souffrance, mais à être capable de reconnaître avec gratitude ce qui lui était offert. Il pratiquait en fait.
She was very touched, just as much as she is right now, to witness this man in his capacity to be mindful and to not be caught into his suffering. And he was actually practicing. He was truly practicing in the face of adversity.
C'est ça, c'est ça. Et la deuxième personne qui m'a beaucoup touchée dans le même endroit,
And the second person that deeply touched her at the same location,
c'était la personne qui était venue pour s'occuper, qui gérait, qui gérait le lieu où se trouvaient ces personnes qui venaient d'arriver de l'Ukraine en guerre.
it was the person in charge of the location where they were sheltering the friends that were going through Ukraine.
Elle avait un cœur débordant d'amour
Her heart was overflowing with love,
et elle s'occupait de chacun avec une tendresse de maman.
and she was taking care of each and every one of them with the tenderness and the love of a mother.
C'est ça. Il y avait des personnes de tous les âges, mais elle avait la même attitude de tendresse, d'écoute profonde et d'amour pour chacun.
There were people from all ages, but she had the exact same love and care and tenderness for every one of them, each and every one of them.
Je pouvais voir Avalokiteshvara à l'œuvre.
And she could see Avalokiteshvara at its best.
Voilà. Merci. Merci pour la traduction.
Sister Nghiem, could you share some of your memories being in the refugee camp? Most impressionable memories for you?
Sister Giac, for your sharing. It reminds me that in the two places that I have visited, so the first one was a school, so the same situation, it was a school and where families and people were sleeping in the class. And we arrived and we were welcomed by the staff. So there was a big group of staff, maybe, I don't know, 10 people at least, for sure. They were wearing, orange T-shirts, so we could see who was working there, and in case anyone needed help. And we could really see maybe Samantha Badra, I would say, or love in action without counting and just giving. Just what you would do to your friend, and offering their presence. So the energy it was a big place. I don't know how many, but I guess maybe something like 100. I think 100 people were in this school, with going from the baby to old men, and And the second place was a synagogue that was also a place to welcome Ukrainians who had to fled. And the children were not there because they were at school. I mean, they were in front of the computer at school for learning. So it was a very much smaller scale. But in both, the people share that this is the family. The people that they are living with now is their family. The people that are helping the staff member is the family. And that was really strong. Strong message of we are together on the same boat. And in the second place, something that was a little bit is the mothers. They share to us that they don't say anything to their children, like young children, about what is happening outside, because like Sister Nghiem, the children were playing around. And as soon as we finish to sit with them, and then they just go and run and play and laugh. And then I asked some of the mothers, and how about the children? And, children, they are children. They play, they laugh, and hopefully they are there. So the children also were somehow also a support for the adults to keep life and joy of life alive in them. But they say that they don't talk about the war. They don't talk about what is happening in their home or in their town because they want to protect their children. So that was a powerful interaction. And this is where also, the tears were hard to contain. So this two strong message is a feeling of being one and being part of the same family, and because for sure they could see that whatever it takes, people will help with what they can. So if there is a place that is available, a school, a synagogue, or whatever, here, please come. They open their doors, and then people maybe stop their work and come and help. So that was the strong message for me, like being part of the one family, and especially the first place where was I think 100 people for sure in the big room, a little bit stuck and pack, and then everybody was looking to each other and it's like, yes, we are a family, and everybody was like, yes. So there was a strong message of love and hope. So that's my sharing for now. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Sister Nghiem, for your sharing. So, dear sisters, we are almost reaching the end of our time together, and I wonder if you have any last words you would like to share about your trip to the Ukraine that you would like to offer before we end with a guided meditation offered by Sister Giac. And for the guided meditation, I wonder if Sister Nghiem, you could translate it if it's in, yes. So then it, thank you. So any last impressions you have, last words you would like to share about your trip to the Ukraine? And I think, well, two questions. Another question too is that some of us are curious, what next? What do you think came out of the gathering and of the many leaders, of religious leaders? And is there any follow-up? Is there, what next for PV in this in this involvement?
Sur le CNI.
I will share a little bit in a minute. So the rabbi had a conversation with the head of religious affairs of Ukraine a few days ago, and that's why they will probably be following up, but we have no idea what it's gonna look like. So for the moment, it's a suspense for everyone, and also we don't know if it will fit to Plum style. So we still don't know if we are going to continue to physically take part, but we know with our hearts for sure we all take part. And maybe for me, like this morning in Butterfly Dharma talk, he mentioned about Earth Day was on Friday, and every day should be Earth Day. And I would like to suggest every day should be a peace day, like our teacher Kai really encourage us to be each step and each breath can bring peace. Especially for the younger one, but also to see the importance of having an open heart to include everyone, even the enemy, because visiting those places, of course, there is a lot of enmity and anger and violence, or revenge, or these kind of things will come up for sure in the Ukrainian. And we all know that that's not going to be the solution. So maybe we can already, start thinking of how can we support in terms of the spiritual community and our community to continue the peace work that Thai has done for so many years. And also, like Thai Supply this morning say, Thai during the Vietnam War said the peace movement is not peaceful at all. So that's why it's so important to every day water this seed of peace, and also we know the seed of joy, because we also need joy in terms of facing all the difficulties in the coming years. And maybe also one thing I would like to share is when visiting, it was not in Ukraine, it was in Palestine. So people had to move from their home in 1949, and since then they haven't been able to return. And so the refugee camp is now big cities, and they are living there for more than 70 years. and we have visited a place. It's kind of a school for children where they can do theater, music, arts to keep the joy and the life. They hope to do something creative, and the director of this place, we had a chance to sit with him, and he clearly says something very strong. We don't have the luxury to get despair. We don't have this luxury. We have to, keep us awake and alive, because everything is crumbling, and so we don't have the luxury of getting into despair. And maybe, yeah, in parallel, for us who are not facing war and bombs right now in our home, maybe we don't have the luxury to forget to generate peace, to generate joy, love. And if we can offer our loving presence to someone, this is already like a part of the puzzle, a worldly puzzle of peace and love, because this is what we need the world needs peace and love. That's, very simple, very basic, but to do it in our everyday life, like the Dharma talk from this morning, Tapaklai mentioned about reconciliation. In order to reconcile, to have the desire to reconcile, to listen to the other person, and maybe to question yourself, and maybe to put your pride and things on side. So it requires, strength, spiritual strength. So I do hope that our leaders can see the strength of bringing more peace, more love into the school, education, and to really see that this is the way out of violence and discrimination. I'm sorry, I think not sure I have answered the question. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, Sœur Force, Sœur Power. Hein? Merci beaucoup. Tu as exprimé beaucoup de ce que je voulais dire. Je pense qu'il y a une chose le rabbin Alon n'a pas voulu que je dise cela dans l'enseignement, le court enseignement. Mais il y a deux choses qui me paraissent indispensables de regarder en profondeur. Et
Thank you. The sisters thanking Sister Power, Sister Nghiem in English is Sister Power, for her sharing. And a lot of what she wanted to share was similar to what Sister Nghiem shared. But the one thing she wanted to share in the teachings, and she couldn't because Rabbi Alon asked her not to, it was...
C'est extrait des poèmes de Thaï. Lui rendre la parole, donner à Thaï la parole. Lorsque les fleurs de prunier tombent de l'arbre, cela ne veut pas dire que l'arbre est mort. C'est-à-dire donner vraiment une place à l'espoir.
She wanted to share actually an extract from Thai's poem and to give back a voice, to give Thai's voice back, like to allow Thai's voice to express itself. And she said when the plum blossom flowers are falling from the tree.
It doesn't mean the end of the plum tree.
It doesn't mean the end of the plum tree.
C'est la première. Et la deuxième, ne jamais, jamais, jamais oublier, l'homme n'est pas notre ennemi. Quoi qu'il fasse, l'homme n'est pas notre ennemi.
Never, 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 never forget, whatever he does, man is not our enemy. Whatever he does, man is not our enemy.
Voilà. J'ai écrit une lettre d'amour à Monsieur Poutine.
She wrote a love letter to President Putin.
Pour lui dire qu'il avait des enfants personnels, mais tous les Russes étaient ses enfants, mais tous les Ukrainiens étaient ses enfants aussi.
To tell him that not only he had blood children, but also that Russian citizens were his children and Ukrainian citizens were also his children.
Et je l'encourageais à arrêter la guerre.
And she was encouraging him to stop the war.
J'ai clairement exprimé que c'était une vraie guerre, parce qu'il nie la guerre. Je l'ai vraiment exprimé que c'était vraiment une guerre et qu'il fallait y mettre fin.
Because President Putin is not considering this as a war. She wrote in her letter that this was in fact a war, and that we needed to end it. This was a real war that needed to be ended.
Et que il avait le courage d'arrêter la guerre, il deviendrait un homme très connu pour son éveil.
And if he could find in himself the courage to stop this war, he would then become a man known for his awoken nature.
Je l'encourageais à guérir, reconstruire l'Ukraine, à apporter du secours aux Ukrainiens et à réunir les familles. Beaucoup de choses.
And she encouraged him to many things, including which to heal and then to rebuild, to heal Ukraine and to rebuild Ukraine and to bring back families that have been separated.
Et à la fin de la lettre, je lui ai dit, je vous salue avec gratitude, Monsieur le Président de la Russie.
At the end of the letter, she said, I salute you with gratitude, Mr. President of Russia.
Pour toutes les belles choses que vous avez pu faire depuis votre enfance.
For all the wonderful things you have done since you were born, since your childhood.
Et je pense que notre devoir, c'est que quand on a quelque chose à dire, il faut le dire, mais il faut le dire avec vérité et amour. Il peut recevoir cette lettre. Pardon.
And she thinks that when we have something to say, it's our duty to say it with truth and love.
Voilà. Plutôt que de penser qu'on n'a que nous sommes impuissants.
Rather than think that we are powerless.
C'est ça. L'homme n'est pas notre ennemi.
Man is not our enemy.
Merci mes sœurs. Merci mes amis.
Thank you so much, dear sisters, for sharing your experience in the Ukraine with us, and also for giving us, being our eyes, our ears, and our hearts, and our action there as well. And today I feel I have a little bit more understanding and a little bit more vivid understanding of what it's like there now. And also thank you so much for sharing your practice with us as you travel through the Ukraine, and also your practice right now as you reflect and look back at the situation. And thank you so much for all of the insights that you've offered each one of us this afternoon. Insights that I feel one of the great gifts I've gathered from this discussion this afternoon is really being in touch with humanity, being in touch with humanity in each one of us, and our need to connect with suffering, to also to help to alleviate the suffering. So thank you so much for all of the insights that you've offered us, and to really help us to see the interbeing nature that we all have with each other, and that and the beautiful reminders you've given us that man is not our enemy, and that we have to be diligent in practicing peace every single day. And it's very necessary for our world right now, that we practice peace every day, and to train ourselves to not see anyone as our enemy. So I really would like to thank you so much for offering your presence and your sharing this afternoon. And also thank you all the friends who have joined us for this session. Right now, we would like to end it with a short guided meditation offered by Sister Giac. And I don't know if you have a bell with you there, sister, but I have a bell here I could invite. If you, I can invite 3 sounds of the bell for you, and then you can start your guided meditation with translation from Sister Nghiem. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll take this moment to really come back to our bodies. And to spend these next few moments together to kind of generate a collective energy together. Together we can generate peace. Together we can be peace, and it's very powerful when we can do it collectively. So I'd like to invite the 3 sounds of the bell for Sister Giac to begin our guided meditation together. So that we can hold space together, hold the energy of peace together. And send our love to also all of our friends in Ukraine, and also a bit all over the world who are suffering from war right now.
Je suis chez moi pour l'inspiration. Je suis arrivée pour l'expiration. Chez moi, à l'inspire, arrivée à l'expire.
Breathing in, I have arrived. Breathing out, I am home. I have arrived. I am home.
À l'inspire, il n'y a qu'ici. Et à l'expire, maintenant. À l'inspire, il n'y a qu'ici. À l'expire, maintenant.
Then I dwell in the here. Now I dwell in the now. Here, now.
Bien solide pour l'inspiration, vraiment libre pour l'expiration. À l'inspiration, l'expiration, vraiment libre. Bien solide, vraiment libre.
Breathing in, I am solid. Breathing out, I am free. Solid, free.
À l'inspiration, dans la terre pure, et à l'expiration, je m'établis. Dans la terre pure, à l'inspiration, je m'établis. À l'expiration.
Breathing in, here is the pure land. Breathing out, dwelling in the pure land. Pure land, dwelling.
c'est le résumé de notre pratique en Ukraine. Je voulais demander à sœur le Nghiem de nous la chanter, pas en ukrainien, en français ou en anglais.
So it's the summary of our practice in Ukraine, and I wanted to ask Sister Nghiem to sing it maybe in English and in Italian/Ukrainian. Just in Ukrainian.
Not yet, not yet.
Maybe today just in English would be enough. So please close your eyes and just also try to practice with me while listening. I have arrived. I am home. In the hill and in the night. I have arrived. I am home. In the hill and in the night. I am solid. I am free. I am solid. I am free. In the ultimate guidance. In the ultimate guidance.
Thank you, dear sisters, dear friends, for a wonderful afternoon together of peace and in solidarity, in comfort as well as in hope. Thank you. May everyone be well. Thank you, dear sisters.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye bye.
Au revoir.